Great to be here with you guys today. Well, it didn't take long for Alyssa Thomas to be proven as a liar. It didn't take long at all. She says, oh, Kathy Engelbert. Oh, I haven't heard from Kathy Engelbert. Well, actually, Kathy Engelbert reached out to you last week. Remember, Alyssa? You guys communicated through text message last week. Oh, but that doesn't really fit into your victimhood narrative, does it? Then
Alyssa Thomas looked straight into the camera and told a story that was meant to burn the league down. She claimed the WNBA commissioner was silent while she was being hunted by trolls and facing unprecedented harassment. But within hours, the entire narrative collapsed under the weight of a single text message. It wasn't just a mistake. It was a calculated move that backfired in front of thousands of fans. Now, the arena is erupting, and it is not for the reasons she expected. The facade of the WNBA
folks, this Alyssa Thomas situation is the Jussie Smollett situation of the WNBA. Let me guess. After they sent you those messages, Alyssa Thomas, it ended with, "This is Clark country," and they chased you away. Then we have the New York Liberty fans booing Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, which I find interesting. I find the New York Liberty fans booing Kathy Engelbert.
Protected veteran is finally starting to crumble as the truth about her communication with the league office comes to light. The drama started when Alyssa claimed she had not heard a single word from Commissioner Kathy Engelbert regarding the online harassment she has been facing. She painted a picture of a league that had abandoned its stars to the wolves of the internet. It was a classic move from the victimhood playbook designed to force the league's hand and gain public sympathy. But the problem with playing the victim is that you have to make sure your receipts are actually hidden. She thought she was safe in her narrative until the real timeline
was riddled with calls going against the Minnesota Lynx because it was, wait for it, fixed, allegedly fixed, it was fixed, rigged to get the New York Liberty to win a championship. And they're booing the commissioner? Interesting. Let's get right into it, shall we? Like the video, hype the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below and subscribe to the channel. That would mean so much to me. Let's start with Alyssa Thomas on recent online harassment. We still have yet to hear anything from Kathy Engelbert. You can see what's
of events was leaked to the public, exposing a massive gap in her story. Alexa Filippo of ESPN dropped the bombshell that Alyssa and the commissioner had actually been texting just days before the public outburst. This was not a case of no contact or being ignored by the higher-ups. It was a direct line of communication that Alyssa chose to omit from her public grievance to fuel a specific agenda. When you tell the world you are being silenced by the league while you are actively texting the boss, you lose all credibility. The discovery turned her emotional...
After being threatened. Well, interesting, Alyssa Thomas. Because the only people who've been arrested for stalking WNBA players are two individuals that stalked WNBA players that played on the Indiana Fever. Oh, wow. Did Kathy Engelbert speak up about that, Alyssa Thomas? But Caitlin Clark's not black. Oh. When Sophie Cunningham's stalker got her, did Kathy Engelbert speak about, but Sophie Cunningham's not.
Plea into a massive PR nightmare that the league could not easily sweep under the rug anymore. This situation is being compared to the infamous Jussie Smollett case because of the way the narrative was manufactured for maximum impact. The narrator of the podcast did not hold back calling out the victimhood narrative as a way to distract from Alyssa's own actions on the court. It is a bold comparison, but it highlights the
in the throat. Now I mentioned this. Oops, excuse me. Now I mentioned this. Do you know what Alyssa Thomas wants Kathy Engelbert to do realistically? These players want Kathy Engelbert to police social media. Just do us all a favor. Go to your safe space on Threads. Go to your safe space on Blue Sky and stop swimming in the deep end. Stop swimming with the sharks. Go to your echo chamber, Blue Sky. Go to the echo chamber and Threads and just leave.
Frustration many fans feel when they see players using serious issues to gain leverage. By claiming she was being ignored, Alyssa tried to paint herself as a martyr for the WNBA old guard. Instead, she just proved that some players are more interested in the spotlight than the actual facts. The irony of Alyssa playing the victim is not lost on anyone who watched her recent game against Caitlin Clark. While she is complaining about words and mean comments online, she was seen physically attacking the league's biggest rising star. Alyssa literally
and just leave us all alone with your victim Olympics, please. Please. Well, what do you want, Kat? What do you want, Alyssa Thomas? You want to get rid of free speech? Is that what you want, Alyssa Thomas? You want to get rid of free speech, Alyssa Thomas, huh? Me words hurt? Oh. Now, Kathy Engelbert, of course, felt the pressure from the mob, felt the pressure from the WNBA old guard, and said, oh, fine, I'll put out a statement. Fine. The WNBA vehemently condemns any and all forms of hate.
Put a fist into Caitlin Clark's neck, a move that would have seen any other player heavily criticized. Yet, she expects the league to police the internet while she gets away with physical intimidation on the court. It is a double standard that is starting to wear thin with fans who are tired of seeing the rookie targeted by veterans. The WNBA vehemently condemns any and all forms of hate. The safety and well-being of Caitlin Clark has faced a level of harassment that most players in this league could never imagine. Yet, she has not
While Caitlin Clark has stalkers being arrested. While Sophie Cunningham has stalkers being arrested. While Maisha Hines-Allen's getting called a coon on the court. Kathy Engelbert comes out scared of the big bad Alyssa Thomas and has to put out a statement. But now, Alyssa Thomas said, we have yet to hear anything from Kathy Engelbert. Which is interesting, because Alexa Filippo of ESPN said WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert and Alyssa
complained once. She has been stalked, insulted by the media, and physically targeted by other players, but she keeps her head down and plays the game. People often minimize her suffering because she does not go on a press tour to demand an apology every time someone says something mean. The contrast between Clark's silence and Alyssa's loud demands for social media policing is staggering. It shows a clear divide between those who want to play basketball and those who want to play the victim.
These in the WNBA, who would have thought she would have been a liar? Not I, says the big bad wolf. Not I. Alyssa Thomas, I mean, I'm sure she heard the monkey noises when she was in Indiana last year. I mean, they probably were in her head. They probably were made up in her mind, but I'm sure she heard them. They just weren't vocalized from the crowd. They were the voices inside her head. Shout out to Randy Orton. And then Annie Costabile, activist Annie, she gets sent the dossier. Folks, we could tie it all in here. We could tie in the justice.
The commissioner eventually felt the pressure from the mob and put out a generic statement condemning hate. But it was not enough for the activists. They wanted blood, and they wanted the league to act as a digital shield for specific players. Kathy Engelbert found herself caught between a rock and a hard place, trying to appease the veterans while ignoring the real threats. It is interesting that the league only speaks up when the old guard is offended, but they stay quiet when rookies are being stalked. This selective outrage is exactly why the fans are starting to turn on the leadership in such a public way. We have to talk about the actual safety issues that have been ignored while this drama unfolds. 2 individuals were recently arrested for stalking players on the Indiana Fever. Yet the league office did not make a massive public spectacle out of it. Why is it that real-world stalking of a rookie is treated with less urgency than mean tweets directed at a veteran? The narrator points out that the league seems to prioritize the feelings of specific players over the physical safety of others. It is a dangerous game to play, and it is creating a toxic environment where only certain voices are allowed to be heard. Sophie Cunningham is another player who dealt with a stalker without the league jumping to her defense with a public manifesto. The podcast raises a valid point about the identity politics at play in the WNBA. If you do not fit a certain narrative, your struggles are often overlooked by the commissioner and the media activists. Alyssa Thomas is using her platform to demand protection that other players have been denied for years. It is not about safety for everyone. It is about special treatment for the few who can scream the loudest. This imbalance is causing a massive rift within the fan base. The activist wing of the media, led by people like Annie Costable, has been working overtime to support Alyssa's claims. They supposedly obtained screenshots of DMs sent to players like Dana Bonner that included racial slurs and death threats. While those messages are clearly unacceptable, the timing of their release feels incredibly convenient. It feels like a coordinated effort to drown out the fact that Alyssa was caught lying about her contact with the commissioner. By shifting the focus to the worst parts of the internet, they hope people will forget the deceptive narrative that started this entire firestorm. One of the most ridiculous parts of the narrative is the claim that these trolls are all ending their messages with the phrase, "This is Clark Country." It sounds like something straight out of a bad movie script, much like the famous MAGA country line from the Semlet case. It is a way to tie the harassment directly to Caitlin Clark's fan base without any actual proof. The narrator mocks this idea, suggesting that these stories are being embellished to make the villains seem more like caricatures. When the stories become this dramatic, people naturally start to question their authenticity. The suggestion for these players is simple. If the deep end of the internet is too much, go to a safe space. Platforms like Threads and Blue Sky are often described as echo chambers where you can avoid the sharks of free speech. If you cannot handle the heat of a global platform like X, then maybe you should not be swimming in the deep end. The demand for the WNBA to police the entire internet is not only impossible, but it is a direct attack on free speech. You cannot control what millions of people say, and trying to do so only makes you look more out of touch with reality. The scene at the Commissioner's Cup was pure chaos, as the New York Liberty fans turned on the very woman who handed them a trophy. Seeing Kathy Angelbert getting booed out of the building in New York was a massive shock to the WNBA old guard. These fans are not used to seeing the commissioner of a league treated like a villain. But the WNBA is not the bubble it used to be. In every other major sport, the commissioner is the lightning rod for criticism. And it seems Kathy is finally getting her initiation into the big leagues of fan hatred. The irony of the New York fans booing Engelbert is that many believe she is the reason they have a championship in the first place. The narrator pointed out that the commissioner once wore a New York City skyline dress to a finals game, which is a massive conflict of interest. It sent a clear message about who the league wanted to see win that trophy. To be booed by the very fans you allegedly helped is a special kind of embarrassment. It shows that no matter how much you try to rig the game for a specific market, they will still turn on you the moment things get uncomfortable. People have not forgotten the WNBA finals where the New York Liberty walked away with a championship that many felt was gifted to them. The allegations of the series being fixed or rigged to favor the New York market have been swirling for months. When you have a commissioner wearing a New York City skyline dress to a championship game, you are basically asking for conspiracy theories to start flying. It was a slap in the face to the Minnesota Lynx and their stars, who many believe were robbed of their moment by a league desperate for a big market win. The booing of the commissioner is not just a WNBA-specific issue, but the old guard acts like it is a tragedy. Commissioners in the NHL and NFL get booed every single time they step on a stage, and it is just part of the job. But in the WNBA, the fans and players expect a level of reverence that they have not earned from the broader public. The fact that Kathy Engelbert was booed in Brooklyn shows that the new wave of fans is not going to follow the old rules of engagement. They are going to express their frustration whether the league likes it or not. The Commissioner's Cup itself seemed like an afterthought compared to the drama happening off the court. Did anyone even watch the game, or were they just there to see the trophy ceremony go off the rails? The narrator questions if the game even matters when the league is so focused on identity politics and social media drama. When a tree falls in the woods and nobody is there to hear it, does it make a sound? The WNBA is struggling with the fact that their drama is often more popular than their actual basketball, and that is a major problem for long-term growth. Annie Costable and The Athletic are being accused of acting as the PR arm for the players rather than reporting the news. By holding on to a dossier of mean messages and releasing them at the perfect time, they are helping to craft a narrative of victimhood. It is a strategy designed to silence critics by labeling any disagreement as harassment, but the more they push this narrative, the more the fans push back. People can see when they are being manipulated, and they do not like being told that their favorite rookie is the cause of all the league's problems. Dana Bonner's involvement in this adds another layer to the story, as she is another veteran who feels targeted by the new influx of fans. While nobody should have to deal with racial slurs, the way these messages are being used to shut down conversation is problematic. It is being used as a weapon to stop people from talking about the physical play on the court. If you criticize a veteran for a hard foul, you are suddenly labeled a troll or a hater. It is a convenient way to avoid accountability for their own actions while demanding it from everyone else. The fundamental question is whether these players want the league to get rid of free speech entirely. Alyssa Thomas seems to want a world where only positive comments are allowed to exist. But that is not how the real world or professional sports work. You cannot have the fame and the multi-million-dollar deals without the public scrutiny that comes with it. If you want to be a professional athlete, you have to develop a thick skin. Demanding that the commissioner police the thoughts of every person with an internet connection is a losing battle that only makes the players look weak. The move to platforms like Blue Sky and Threads is being mocked as a retreat to an echo chamber. If you only want to hear from people who agree with you, then those are the perfect places to go. But you cannot expect the entire world to change to suit your comfort level. The sharks of the internet are always going to be there, and trying to hide from them while still demanding their attention is a contradiction. The players who are thriving right now are the ones who ignore the noise and focus on the basket, not the ones scrolling through their DMs looking for a reason to be mad. The divide between the old guard and the new fans is only getting wider as the season progresses. The veterans feel like they built this league and deserve respect, while the new fans are here for the talent and the excitement of rookies like Caitlin Clark. When the veterans try to manufacture drama to stay relevant, it only alienates the very people who are finally bringing money and attention to the sport. The WNBA has a golden opportunity to grow, but they are currently being held back by a culture of victimhood that refuses to adapt to the modern sports world. At the end of the day, the WNBA is at a crossroads between the players who want to compete and those who want to win the Victim Olympics. Alyssa Thomas tried to use the commissioner as a pawn in her narrative, but the fans in the arena saw right through the deception. The boos were not just for the leadership. They were for the lack of authenticity in a league that is struggling to find its footing. If the stars keep choosing drama over the game, they might find that the audience they have built is more interested in the truth than the script they are trying to.